Okay, so today we're going to dive into the story of a really famous perfume brand. And yeah, on the surface it's all about scent. But if you look just a little bit closer, it's this incredible lesson in creative courage. And what it really takes to build a life that actually feels like your own.
And this quote right here, it gets to the absolute heart of the whole thing. See, this isn't a story about escaping some huge disaster. It's about that much, much harder decision to leave a situation that, on paper, looks perfect. You've got the safe salary, the impressive title, but deep down, it just feels totally empty.
So let's meet our main characters, Eddie Rashidalki and Fabrice Pinot. Now, before they created their iconic brand, Labo, they were way on the inside. I mean, they were seasoned pros working at the very top of the fragrance world for none other than Giorgio Armani.
I mean, just imagine that for a second. These guys weren't just cogs in some giant corporate machine. No, they were in the room with Armani himself every single month. They were soaking up everything about design, about taste, about how high-level decisions get made. As they put it, it was extremely good training. By all accounts, they had totally made it. And there it is. That's the catch. Because despite all the prestige, all that access, and the job security, one absolutely crucial thing was missing. They didn't have creative freedom. Their vision was constantly being squeezed and filtered through a corporate mold.
And this really just lays out the whole conflict, doesn't it? On one side, you have everything that society tells you is success. Good money, a great title, amazing experience. But the internal reality? It was completely different. It was feeling trapped, wasting all their energy just complaining, and watching their best creative ideas get watered down into something meh.
So, how does this all lead to a breaking point? Well, the decision to leave wasn't some big dramatic explosion. It was more like a quiet rebellion, something born from this slow, persistent dissatisfaction, like a constant ache telling them that something was just deeply wrong. And this was the big aha moment for them. They realized that their creative energy, the very spark that made them so good at their jobs, wasn't going into making beautiful things anymore. Instead, it was all being funneled into frustration, into complaining about the system they were stuck in.
So, the signal to leave, the real sign, it wasn't a project failing or getting fired or anything like that. It was something way more personal. It was something that came out in a single, powerful sentence.
This was the turning point. This one line from Eddie Rashishi, it wasn't just a casual complaint, It was a mission statement. It completely reframed their entire situation. Suddenly, the goal wasn't just to tolerate the present anymore. The goal was to actively build a future where that constant frustration just didn't exist.
And that realization, it sparked one of the bravest things any creative person can do. They decided to leave. They actually walked away from all that comfort and security to build something brand new, from scratch, to make a world where they wouldn't have to compromise their vision ever again.
You could almost call this the Labo moment, right? It's that point where you just refuse to keep making yourself smaller to fit inside a system that wasn't built for you. It's a conscious choice to go for unfiltered, authentic creation over, mediocrity and compromise. So what did they end up building? They created Labo to be the philosophical antidote to the corporate machine they just escaped. I mean, from the ground up, it was designed to be the exact opposite of their old jobs.
And their core values were a direct rejection of that whole corporate world. Instead of mass production, they chose intimacy and craft. Instead of rushing to meet deadlines, they chose integrity and unhurried creation. Their scents weren't born out of some marketing plan. No, they came from memories, from moods, and they were mixed by hand, right there in front of the customer.
Ultimately, what they really wanted was to create something that felt personal, that felt authentic. And this simple phrase just captures it perfectly. It's all about building things and building lives that are a true reflection of who we are, not what some marketing department thinks we should be.
Okay, so this is where the story pivots. This is where it stops being just about a couple of perfume founders and starts being about you. Because their journey, it's a really powerful prompt for our own creative frustrations and our own ambitions.
So let's just ask the question directly. If you stopped accepting the parts of your life that feel like a compromise, what new thing could you create? What project, what idea, what new chapter is just sitting there, waiting on the other side of that refusal?
I mean, really think about that. We all have these areas where we feel like we're presenting a diluted version of ourselves or our work. What if you just committed to the unfiltered version?
What kind of incredible beauty and energy could that unleash?
So often, we just find ourselves trying to survive the systems we're in, right? Whether it's a job or an industry or just a set of expectations. We learn the rules, we play the game, we get by. But what if getting by wasn't the goal?
And this is the final, most powerful challenge. What if you shifted all that energy from just navigating the world as it is to actively inventing your own? It doesn't have to be a perfume empire. It could be a new routine, a personal project, a little side business, your own personal system.
Because in the end, that's the big takeaway from this whole story. The moment that creative energy flips from frustration to creation, from bitching to building, that's the moment something truly beautiful and truly authentic finally has a chance to be born. So, what will you start creating?